Hi, it's Alistair from Electric Scotland. Just doing my introduction to my weekly newsletter for April the 19th, 2019. Because of the Easter break, we're getting a little bit of relief from Brexit matters, although it's still on the go. I think the big story that's been going around this week is the launch of the Brexit Party. This is Nigel Farage, who launched UKIP some years ago and was very successful with it, but he's now launched the Brexit Party. And so I've given you a story covering the launch, but also polling that came out yesterday, I think it was, indicates that the Brexit Party now have 25% of the vote in a recent poll, which means they actually lead all other parties. That's including UKIP itself and Labour, Conservatives. So I don't know where this is going to go, but maybe it would be a bit of a wake-up call possibly for some of the politicians. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here are the stories that I picked for you this week. I do remember, if you go to electricscotland.com and you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll see a link to our Scot News feed, and that Scot News feed is where I put up daily news stories of all kinds that have a bearing on Scotland, either directly or indirectly. And so you can always get all the news stories there, and it's put up daily, so there's always something new to look at there. But I take a wee selection of the stories I put up there and put them into this newsletter for you to read. So the first story I've got is why the unexpected European elections are so hard to predict. It says getting Remain-leaning supporters to the polling booth could be decisive in any future EU referendum. The next story is reflections on the economic outlook for Europe. What is the outlook for Europe, is asking. And so that's a story from Brexit Central, that one. Brexit Party launch, this is what I mentioned earlier on. Nigel Farage unveils his new party with 2019 European election candidates. And then an interesting wildlife story is wild parakeet flock causes a flap in Glasgow Park. It says Glasgow's wild parakeet flock is colourful and popular with the locals, but their days may be numbered. Ooh. There's nice wee pictures in that article as well. That's from the BBC. Then another one from the BBC is Auschwitz victim Jane Haining honoured at Hungarian march. A Scot who gave her life to help protect Jewish schoolgirls during World War II has been honoured in Hungary. It's a very good story, that. Then Tiger Woods roars to fifth Masters victory. 2 years after expressing fears about his career at the Champions Dinner at Augusta National due to serious back issues, Tiger Woods is the Masters champion for a fifth time after claiming a 15th major title. So good on him. Goes to show that if you persevere, anything's possible. Next story is EU approves tougher EU copyright rules in blow to Google and Facebook. So Google will have to pay publishers for new snippets, and Facebook filter out protected content under new copyright rules aimed at ensuring fair compensation for the European Union's $1 trillion creative industries. That has major repercussions on copyright information. I think we're a bit concerned that there could be a two-tier internet, one for Europe and one for the rest of the world. So we'll see. Me being in Canada, I'm in the rest of the world, so I should be able to bring you stuff that perhaps UK website wouldn't be able to do so. So we'll see how that goes. Then, of course, Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral suffers colossal damages in Inferno. Obviously a massive story right around the world, that one, so I thought it's only right to give you some reading material about it. And the next story is industrial policy now masks a deeper German struggle over post-Merkel era. It says, after a brief ceasefire, Angela Merkel's Christian Democrats are fighting among themselves again over the future shape and leadership of their party as the Chancellor stay manages her exit as German leader. You know, it just goes to show, you know, I mean, Britain's in the middle of Brexit right enough, which is horrendous. But Germany has serious problems, as does France, as does Italy. I mean, most European countries are having struggles and problems of their own. And of course, America's had them, Canada's had them. I mean, Trudeau in Canada is not liked so much these days because of things that have been happening recently. So, now is the time for frank speaking. It's an article from the Scottish Review which I enjoyed, and I thought I would feature that for you. Then another one asked in the Scotsman is MP for Spain, expats need a voice. Hear, hear, quite agree. So you might like to read that, especially if you're an expat. Then Beechgrove Garden presenter Jim McCall retires after 40 years. Certainly when I was in Scotland, I watched Beechgrove Garden regularly. Really enjoyed the series. He was a great character. So sorry to hear he's retiring, but he basically says that he's not fit. Like he said, if he kneels down to do something, it's a real struggle getting back up again. So he just feels his age is against him. But he's still passionately interested. And maybe he'll do some wee talks and stuff. Then Nigel Farage's Brexit party in the lead for European elections. Nigel Farage's new Brexit party has opened up a 5-point lead in the next month's elections to the European Parliament, according to a new opinion poll. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how many people vote for him at the end of the day. Of course, May doesn't want to participate, but frankly, the way Parliament is and the stupid MPs that just have no idea, brain dead they are, you know, we're about to have to go to the elections, which is ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we learn anything from them. Grassroots Conservative chairman planning a no-confidence vote in Theresa May within weeks. So grassroots Tories believe they are just weeks away from triggering a little-known process that could help to bring down Theresa May. And then finally, Brexit doesn't go far enough. Brexit doesn't go far enough in the UK's quest for freedom from the bureaucratic EU. The man tipped to replace Bank of England's Mark Carney has said. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so these are the stories I picked. There wasn't a great deal of news this week. Maybe it was because of the Trump report, Mueller report coming out, and the Notre Dame disaster, and the launch of the new Brexit party. That seemed to dominate the headlines around the world, really. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, on to Electric Canadian. Continue to put up the Canadian Archive reports. I've added the 1906 report, which is in 3 parts. I think that's the last. There's one more report on these sets that I've got, and so there's one more to go, and I think that's it done. Let me just double check on something here. I think it was. Let me just see. thought it was right. I didn't update that properly. I got the 1906 report up, which is the final report basically. So I'll just so let me just change that. So that's the last report I've got, 1906. Then the Canadian Horticulturalist, that's continuing for a wee while yet. I've got volume 22 up, which is 1899. And then I've got Canadian Summer Evening Tales by Andrew Lermont Speeden. It's in 1866. And other of his books, which you can get to at, and I've given you a link to his page. Basically, he's a very interesting author, and I think you should we read more about him. He's certainly quite a character, that's for sure. Okay, so just looking through that. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Some of his books include Canadian Summer Evening Tales, Tales of the Canadian Forest, and Rambles Among the Bluenoses. These are the Jacobites. So he was born in Edinburgh and claimed his father, who was a stonemason, was involved in building Sir Walter Scott's home. So again, quite a character that. So I hope you'll enjoy reading that. Okay, so next one I've got for you is Sir Peter Pettishaw. It's a story of Canadian life, basically. So again, I enjoyed reading that one, so I hope you will too. The place British Americans have won in history. This is a lecture delivered at Aylmer on Thursday evening, the 22nd of February 1866, by Henry J. Morgan, who is a corresponding member of the New York Historical Society, which you can read, and I've given you a link to the book. But obviously, Canadians again, and how they won in history is an interesting book. Then I've got a copy of the Red Hackle. This is published by the 73rd Royal Highlanders of Canada. It's a souvenir number for March the 4th, 1916. So it's a wee bit faint, that one, but it's still readable if you zoom in a wee bit. And then I found a book about Red River. I've got information up about Red River, but the thing is, this is a teacher's resource unit on early pioneer life. So I thought the way it was presented was particularly interesting, and I thought maybe the kids itself might enjoy reading that one. Then I've got The Settlers of Vancouver Island. There's a story for immigrants by the Reverend W.G.H. Ellison. So again, an interesting book. And then one story from Conrad Black, A Good Day for Israel, with many more to come, commenting on the elections there. Okay, then on to Electric Scotland. I've got the Scottish Review up for volume 33, which is January to April 1899. Historical Environment Scotland, A New Future for Scotland, which is a report from the Historic Environment Scotland, which is asking everyone to help, and it's showing you ways you can get involved with it. So this is a video, and I've got a link to that for you to watch it. Folklore Journal, I've added volumes 4 and 5, which you can get towards the end of our page, and I'll give you the link to the page, Waifs and Strays page is. And then I've got some information on names, like the Allardyce family. I had a wee book about the Allardyce family to our Allardyce page. So that was a new book, so it adds information to what we've already got for Allardyce. And then Clan Hall. I got in an update on the clan history along with the membership application form and 2 crests which I've added to their page, along with advice about their new website, which I put a link to, and also got in a copy of their 25th anniversary newsletter, which went out last year, and you can get to all that at the Hall page. And then an interesting one, a critical inquiry into the Scottish language. It says, with a view of illustrating the rise and progress of civilization in Scotland. It's by Francisca Michel. It's produced in 1882. And the interesting thing about this is that basically, it's a Frenchman writing about it. He's writing from the point of view that he thinks Scotland got far more out of the connection with France, and much of the Scottish language is taken from the French. So he's got a particular view on it, which is very French view. So, but I thought you might be interested in that. So I've actually put a wee link to that from our French section of the site. And then Best Newfangled Family Tree, we've got the May, first of the May issues in. Issue is the section 2. So it shows the section 2 first. And then Hamlin Garland. This is an American novelist, poet, essayist, short story writer, Georgist, and physical researcher. He's best known for his fiction involving hard-working Midwestern farmers. So you can read more about him, and I've got a link to 2 of his most popular books, which gives you a good Scottish background, basically, on things. So I think it's kind of interesting. I enjoyed reading them, certainly. Oh yes, and the next one is a Tower of Craigtocha. A bit of an update to April 2019. Basically, Phil sent in some new pictures, and they're actually living in the tower at long last. They had spent Christmas there, so there's actually a picture of the 3 of them there with a Christmas tree in the big hall with a roaring fire. So really, really nice. And he's promised that probably he's going to retire at the end of this year, and he's intending maybe early next year to do a final write-up on everything, and so he'll send that in when it's all finished, and hopefully I'll still be around to put that up. Okay, Heather Bells, or Poems and Stories by Sir William Allen. It's done in 1875, and a lot of this stuff's in the Doric language. Well, he's quite a character, so I've put a page up for him, plus link to the books. Then Greyfriars Bobby. I had a video of this great story. It's the Walt Disney one, but it's on YouTube, and it seems to be around for quite a while. So hopefully it's going to last a while up on the site as well. But I thought, well, it's a great story, and if you want to watch the movie, maybe you would enjoy looking at that. And then Clans of the Bread Alban, a collection of Scottish histories, MacNab, Dewar, MacNish, and associated families, compiled and edited by David Rohrer. David has done a lot of work to update his previous contribution, so lots of files in both Word and PDF format, which you can read at. And I've taken the page where he sent me stuff a few years ago, I put it up on the site, so I've gone to the same page that I put it up on. I've given you a copy of the letter he wrote to me, or emailed to me. Actually, he mailed to me. Yeah, he mailed it to me. Yeah, that's the letter he sent to me. So I scanned that in and put it up along with all the files. He must have put about 30 odd files in to me, both Word and PDF, so a lot to read there. And then finally I got the History of MacLeod's up. I thought I'd had this book up, and in fact I think maybe I have, kind of, in that I put a History of the MacLeods up which was taken from the Celtic magazine. And of course Alexander Mackenzie edited the Celtic magazine for many years, and as he wrote the book, I think we've probably got it all up, but I thought, well, as he put it into a specific book, I thought I'd put the actual book up for you as well, which might be easier to read than the scans that I did from the Celtic Review. Okay, so that's it. So the story this week is the National Trust for Scotland Foundation, USA, honours sculptor Andy Scott as Great Scot at the annual gala in 2019. And it's a wee story about how we got it, and a wee bit of background on it, and I've got even a couple of pictures of the Kelpies. So, I hope you enjoyed reading that article. It's quite a lengthy article, but gives you a lot of good information. Okay, so that's it for this week, and as always I'll put a link to the actual newsletter so you get all the links to where all the stories are if you want to follow up on anything. It's all there. So, great talking to you again, and look forward to getting any comments from you, and see you next week. Okay, have a good weekend and a good Easter. Cheers.